Hi, my name is Emile Kinuma, and I'm an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Emile is an enterprise product manager and financial analyst with successful experience in SMB, public and distribution markets, with solid financial acumen, interpersonal and decision-making abilities. Emile's firm owns a complete mobile payment platform that works immediately on any cell phone. Transactions are securely signed with NSDT, a technology that sends cryptosounds through the phone's audio channel to enable contactless mobile payment. He earned a Master of Science degree in administration from the John Molson School of Business at Concordia University. Emile Kinuma is the Chief Executive Officer at MobiCash.
All right, welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Emile.
Pleasure to be here.
Amazing. Emile, you attended the Concordia University where you bagged your bachelor's degree.
Yes.
I think that was about 2011.
Yeah.
In finance.
Yes.
That was it. But there's not much is on record about your pre-teen years, growing up. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? What school did you go to? Would like to know.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Ethiopia during what they called the Dirk, when Ethiopia was still communist.
Huh.
And I graduated there in 2003. I did my schooling in French.
Huh.
And I learned English watching TV. I was a big fan of The Fresh Prince, and I was always wondering what they were saying. So I went into the books and I learned how to speak English just watching the shows and listening to hip hop.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So you would subsequently bag your master's degree in administration.
Yes.
Why administration?
Administration, and it's mainly a specialization in strategy, because when I graduated from my bachelor's in 2008, I basically realized that I wanted to do more than just finance. Remember, in 2008 is the year of the financial crash, and no one wanted to hear about a finance graduate anywhere in the world. And Rwanda was no different, because that's where I'd come right after I graduated. And I started asking myself, what would I do to be in a better position if I were to come out now with another degree? So I realized, why not get into strategy? Because strategy is about making decisions, and especially those that are long term. So I said, let me start decision making, and that's what I got into. And I did my thesis on the way multinationals enter different institutional environments.
Okay, amazing. So you then moved at some point to Air Canada. Yes. As an analyst, a content analyst.
Yes.
Please do share about your time there.
So a content analyst was when I left France, I went to study in Canada. I joined a program at Concordia University, which was the co-op program. So what it did, it allowed students like us in various fields to do a semester in school and another semester within a company. And I was lucky enough to work for one of the biggest companies in media and entertainment called Autodesk Media and Entertainment.
Okay.
So if you've seen the special effects in Spider-Man or Superman, the Marvel movies, they're done on their systems. Oh, and at the time, they were having a problem because they knew they were, let's say, the Ferraris of softwares in that field, but they didn't really know how the market was actually segmented. Okay. So they brought us in to kind of do a market study. And that's where we started getting interested into content production, and we started interviewing different producers that were based in Montreal and in Canada generally, to figure out how they could actually take advantage of their position and penetrate new markets. And that's why I got that.
Amazing. So I'm particularly interested in your time as financial analyst. That was as a call center manager for SMS Rwanda.
Yes.
You spent just 4 months in 2008. Why?
I did 4 months. My idea was when I came back in 2008, I wanted to move back. I wanted to move to Rwanda. And after a while, you're starting to get used to everything that's going around you. and opportunities were opening up. And because I'm very versatile, the people at SMS Media, because I come in as a financial analyst, they asked, can you help us set up this call center? I said, okay, I've never done this before, but there's Google, and I'm pretty sure there are people here I can talk to set it up. So I did that, and while I was doing that, my parents got worried that I was not going to go get a master's. And you know how African parents are. Okay. There is no way they're just gonna let your son roam around and not get a higher degree. So for me, I said, okay, that's fine. Let me go back to Canada, and that's why my stay in Rwanda was that short.
Okay.
But I don't regret it. It allowed me to achieve better things in the future.
All right, and then you went back for your master's, and then settled back in Montreal, got a job.
Yes. So when I graduated, I started working in a call center, and not a lot of people know this. The reason why I started off in the call center was because I botched an interview completely. It was horrible. Wow. I was looking for a great job at a company called Imperial Tobacco, and it was for a senior analyst. Everything was set up for me. I botched the interview on the phone. I'd forgotten I had applied. So I swallowed my pride and I said, let me just do this call center thing, because my parents are not going to finance all this education by themselves. Let me get in and be independent. And within 3 months, I was promoted to supervisor because they liked the drive. And 6 months down the line, I was promoted to the product department as a financial analyst.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The last decade has seen a subtle migration of young Africans residing in the West, moving back to Africa, a continent bedeviled with numerous problems. And while a good number have decided to keep watching from afar, a few realize that in the problems of Africa lies great business opportunities.
So by 2016, you were back in Rwanda?
Yes.
How did you know at that time it was time to move back to Rwanda?
At that time, when I decided to move back to Rwanda, was a sequence of things. For one, I felt that in Canada, there was nowhere else really I could move. For the simple reason that it's a very tough environment, and especially when you come and you're African with my pigmentation, and in Canada and in the West in general, it's a big pie. Let's not get wrong. It's a big pie, but it's stagnating. Whereas here in Africa, it's a small pie, but it's growing quickly. So get in first, get in at the right time, and you're just going to be growing. And that's the logic that I saw, and I said, this is where I need to be.
So today you're the CEO at MobiCash.
Yes,
what was your mandate within at MobiCash, and then, how did you even get here?
I really asked myself, what's the next move that's really going to challenge you? That was the question I asked myself, and I realized with this opportunity that I was going to be able to use all of my skills and be pushed to my limits. Something I will tell other people, do not think it's that easy. It sounds nice when we say it here. I want to push myself. I want to see what my limit is. The day it happens, it's gut check time, and you got to be ready. But at the time when this opportunity came along, a friend of mine had recommended me to this position. I met with the owners and the founders of this company. They're Rwandans, and they brought me in because the company was transitioning. It was moving from a small mom and pop shop where you had a few developers, a few accounting people, to a company of 28 employees with each its departments and its procedures. And that is the challenge that I wanted to see, and that is why I said MobiCash is it.
The company launched in 2007, but what problem was it created to solve, and are you still solving the same set of problems from then in 2018?
Our chairman, Patrick Ngabonziza, likes to say the story. He was in South Africa at the time, and he had gone out with a few friends and at a restaurant, and when the bill came, he gave his credit card. And when they came back, they brought scissors, like in the movies, and they cut it up. And he was outraged because it was the weekend, he didn't have access to his money, and he was stuck. And he was saying, how can I have money, but for some reason, I can't access it. And that was what sparked the inspiration to build MobiCash. And MobiCash, its primary mission was to give people who are not financially included a financial identity through technology, so that they could have access to their money and perform transactions, even though they are not formally in the banking sector, through MobiCash. We would be the conduit that would give them access to all this technology. It was a very ambitious plan, and in time, we kind of refined our approach and got into payments and realized that in Africa, and especially in the markets that we're playing in Rwanda and Burundi, there was an opportunity to digitize payments in a way that would lower the cost of transactions, but also offer a whole host of payment options to different institutions, be it private or public, in order to make sure that a citizen or a customer could pay for a service or product that they liked. And this is something that we still carry on today, and we want to continue developing that road, because the road towards fully simplifying the payment landscape within our ecosystem is there's still opportunity to grow, and we want to continue in that field.
So I recall, doing an interview with someone in a similar space, one of our under 40 CEOs back in Ghana, and he said something. He said, payments have become a function of communication now and nothing more. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I can see how I would say that, because it's about exchanging information. So payment is about sending a set of information to another party stating that you're willing to make a purchase or make a payment. And that's why it's about communications.
Emile has proven his versatility by working across different unrelated industries.
You've worked in real estate, entertainment, finance. Is there any other business interests you still wish to pursue?
I will say that in everything that I've done, what I really try to look for is building relationships that are meaningful. Finding individuals that we have identified a problem and we resolve it together. So working in all this, I will say that the place where I'm very comfortable is technology now. I do still play in other industries, but technology is where I feel holds the most promise. And there is more resisting to shocks.
All right, so tell me, what are those major hurdles and challenges that you've had to, overcome to make the strides you've made so far?
The hurdles, I'll say that the first challenge that you need to overcome is the limits that you set yourself. I will say that a lot of the challenges that you would meet when you become a CEO or you're into your career, you need to have an attitude where you say, I can learn, I can keep on learning and improve myself throughout the way. Okay? I will not say passion, because I just feel that passion is overrated. I'm passionate about what works. I feel that passion is a resource that you can dial forward and back depending on how a venture is going. If a venture is not going well, dial back that passion. You're wasting too much energy into something that's not getting you anywhere. But if you do see something that requires you to invest more, dial in, make sure you put more passion in that, because you'll get more bang for your buck. And that is how I see it.
Okay then. So what would you say makes the Rwandan business landscape unique?
What I'll say that what makes the Rwandan business landscape unique is the leadership that is around this country. And when I say leadership, I don't want just to say about the political leadership, but just the fact that there are so many people working towards one goal, improving ourselves. A lot of it stems from the painful history that we've had, and we do not want to relive it. But also it comes from the fact that there's a promise of a better tomorrow within our grasp. And that is what makes the Rwandan landscape so unique. That you have so many people around who understand that they were dealt a bad hand, but it doesn't define them.
All right, so what is the current business structure at MobiCash?
I'm the CEO. We've just hired a new CFO. There's a CTO, and there's also an operations manager.
Okay.
And then under that, you have middle management who report to all these various structures.
It is crucial to get into the mind of successful business leaders who have managed to cross certain hurdles doing business in Africa to get a glimpse into how they did it.
So what are the most critical lessons that you've learned and can share on running a business to profitability?
Okay. The first things that you need to really understand, focus on, when you're a small business, focus on growing your business. Get customers. Make sure that the majority of people have your product in your hand and you've developed a quality product. Once you have that, you need to focus on controlling your costs. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing all this as a charity. You need to break a profit. So that is what you need to focus on. And one other thing that I will tell people, work with the team you have. A lot of people say, I would be able to achieve X if only I had these people. The reality is, if you do not have them, look for them. But even without them right now within your structure, work with what you have. Work with the team that you have, inspire them. If you're the one who started this business or you're the one running this business, make sure that the people that you're working with feel that they see in you a leader, a person who can take them to the next step. So that means establishing trust and delivering results.
I know you're a very well-traveled man,
Yes.
but tell me, how has travel and interacting with different cultures helped to shape your person and added value to the business?
So one of the things that travel has taught me is that human beings fundamentally are the same. We are irrational creatures. And we are irrational only a certain percent of the time. So once you understand that and you understand how human beings react, cultures will manifest it in different ways. But it also taught me to be humble and also be ready to listen to the person across from you. Because they have an experience that you can benefit from.
Wow. So coming into Kigali, I mean, everybody's, oh no, you need to talk to Emile. MobiCash, do you know him? He's done so much. So there's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of recognition that you've gotten for your work over time. What do these nods and recognitions, accolades, what do they truly mean to you?
I would say that really what I really care about is the bottom line. But I would say it's a testimony of the work that has been done. And not just for me, but as the company as a whole, what me and my colleagues have been able to bring to this market. And that is what I'm really, truly grateful for.
All right, so talking about you and your colleagues, we all know that human resource is a very critical element to consider, in building any enterprise. How do you typically hire?
How do we typically hire? I would say that we work through firms, recruiting firms, that will bring us a list of CVs, and we also look into our network.
So how would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style, I'll say I like to lead by example. I don't believe I'm a one-man show. I believe that it takes all these little hands doing their part for this whole company to succeed.
Wow. So tell me honestly about your flaws and failings as a leader.
Failings, well, I did mention one. I botched that interview. But I will say as well that I can get impatient. When you're at this level, there are many things that you wish could be done faster, because you're seeing where you need to go. But you see all these impediments, and you're not patient enough to work through them. So at times, it hurts you. So in a particular month, just because you were wanting to go too quickly, the market will not react the way you expect it to react. So you need to learn to eat your humble pie, sit back at the drawing board and say, what did we miss?
Okay. So what are those key skill sets that you feel a CEO needs to acquire in running a profitable venture and, of course, managing people?
You need to know when the fat lady sings, basically. you need to know how to listen. As a leader, you need to know to read the signs in your environment. You need to read your environment, and you need to also listen to your people on the ground. And you also need to be a person who can make a decision. Because a lot of times, you read the Harvard Business Review, you need data to make sure you do this, and sometimes you get into analysis paralysis because you do not want to make a decision. You don't want to take a risk. Take calculated risks, but also know, and one thing is knowing to adjust once you've realized you've made a mistake. Not go deep into your mistake because of your pride. No, to change course and make that decision.
All right, so tell me, what values are important to you and your firm?
The values for us is always keeping the customer, the citizen in mind, and whenever we design. It is very easy sometimes to veer off believing that you have such a beautiful toy. But that toy is only, it's nice, yes, but how does it apply in the real world? And we always have to put at our core values that the customer is at the center of whatever we design and what we produce. Second, teamwork. You need to work with your colleagues as a team. You're not a one-man show. There's no iron team. But also, understanding the value of hard work. This is not going to come easy to you. You will need to put in the time. And also, I say solidarity. Not feel that, marketing messed up, but having a sense of ownership at this product that we're all working towards to improve and then delivering to our customer value. These are the 4 values I would say you need to have in your firm.
We understand that keeping the customer happy is a key value that drives Emile and his firm. But what are those lifestyle choices that keeps him happy?
So I have a few quick fire questions for you.
Yeah.
What do you love to eat?
Mama's food.
How would you describe your fashion style?
Smart casual.
What are your favorite brands to wear?
I don't really have a very particular brand, but most brands that are attached to hip hop culture, because it's something I grew up in and I just like the way they dressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what CEOs do you look up to?
I look up to a lot of Nigerian CEOs actually. Dangote, Tonele Melu. But the former CEO of Ethiopian Airlines is one person that I admire a lot for what he has done for the airline. Because a few years ago, the biggest airline in Africa, East Africa in particular, was Kenya Airways. And within 10 years, they turned it around and they became dominant. And that is one of those companies that I say, yes, I like this. And it's because it's so homegrown and they've done everything locally that I say, this is what I like.
What's your favorite car to drive?
Lexus.
Your favorite travel destination?
Recently, I found Zanzibar.
Your favorite book of all time?
Favorite book of all time? It's, I don't know if I should say it, it's Pimp by Iceberg Slim.
Pimp by who?
By Iceberg Slim.
Oh,
He's an American author who wrote about, pimping in the 50s in the US.
okay.
And the reason why I liked this book was the psyche behind it. I said I loved hip hop, but also what I liked about this was the way he explained to you that women did not have to prostitute themselves, but he was able to impose himself in a way where he was ruthless and used all these mental techniques to keep them subjugated that fascinated me. Yeah.
So what book are you reading right now?
Never Split the Difference
Okay.
by Chris Voss. And the subtitle is Negotiate Like Your Life Depended on It.
So lastly, I'd like to know, Emile,
Yeah.
what makes you happy?
What makes me happy is making my wife happy and my family happy. Making sure that they're out of harm's way and out of need. That's what makes me happy.
All right. Thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Emile.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Emile Kinuma, and you too can be an Under 40 CEO.